going to try something different, a little experiment using a 1-to-1 ratio in a 5-colour split cup. I'm Nunzia and I'm so glad to welcome you here today. You may have seen my recent video working with Sarah Renee Clark's colour cubes, where I made a beautiful resin clock. If you haven't seen it and you're interested, the link will be at the end of this video. In that video, I used a 2-to-1 ratio epoxy resin. And when I poured the colours, they were so luscious, bright and vibrant, and they really, really popped. And then as the resin started its polymerization process, that's what it's called, I looked it up. That's the chemical reaction that starts to happen when the molecules start to link up. When I poured, the colour started to merge, and I'd have to say that I was worried about the result. Now, I am happy with the clock. I'm not unhappy with it. The experiment was to have colours that complement each other, and I think they do, and the result is very subtle and classic. But today, I'd like to experiment again with something that a subscriber pointed out to me. Hi, Katie. She suggested that I try a 1-to-1 ratio mix, as the 2-to-1 is so thin that it gives it too much time to mix, and that's why it became muddier. She said sucks because those colours were so beautiful, and I think if you watch the video you'll agree. But she did add that it still turned out really nice, so thanks for that, Katie. I really do appreciate comments and feedback from all of you watching, and also to hear your experiences with resin as we all learn together, and I'd encourage you to leave a comment, as I love to hear from you. Well, today I'm willing to try and test Katie's suggestion and see if the result with the 1-to-1 epoxy resin, which of course is a higher viscosity and much thicker, so it does make sense, and see if that will produce a better result with the colours not merging quite so much. Now, I'm working with the colour cubes again, and I've chosen my colours. I won't be using the brown, only these 5 colours here, as I'm using the 5-colour split cup again. So let's see what happens. Let's begin. I've tried to do these as evenly as I can, and now I've got to add the colours. I'm going to need to use a little bit of the white with the blue. The green doesn't look too bad. The yellow will need a little bit of white, and I could use, no, that's too green. Tomato red won't, maybe okay, but the orange, I'll make that up out of the red and the yellow. We'll start with the green because that's a nice easy one in this tube, and I can just pop that in there. I think that's pretty good, that colour. Sometimes I mix them in a bigger cup and then pour it into the. It is a bit easier to do it, but today's only a very small project that I'm attempting. So hopefully this will mix up okay in here. And that's a pretty good colour, I think. Get my bit of paper so that I've got somewhere to put my sticks. Now, what should we do? The blue comes next. I like to do them in the order that they're on the colour card. And I'll need to, this is a new one, so I will need a pair of scissors. I always have trouble opening these things. Hard to do it without making a mess, isn't it? I don't want to make a mess. And now I've got it all over my glove. So I think I'll change my glove. Oh. Now, a little bit of the blue with some of the white. I think I'll start with the white because then I can add the blue. It is hard to mix them in here, but now we'll just put just a dab of this blue in and see if that comes out a little bit, like, because a paste is very solid. You don't need very much at all. I'm just going to leave it like that because I'm not worried if it's got, you know, if it's a little bit variegated. What would you call it? Like it's got the white and the blue not quite mixed up. That's okay. Okay, the next one is the yellow, and again I'm going to need the white in there. And then just a tinge of my yellow. To get that lovely pale colour. And now my orange, and again, now I've got to put a little bit of the red, don't I? Red and yellow make orange, don't they? Need more yellow, I think. And I might even put a little bit of white. I don't want it too orangey. That's looking quite nice. And the last one is my red. And that's a pretty vibrant tomato red, but I might leave it like that. It'd be nice to have a bit of a vibrancy, wouldn't it? Love colours. And with resin, as I said earlier, the colours merge and you'd never know what they're going to do, and then sometimes you can lose the effect, the initial effect. But we still end up with something beautiful at the end, so I'm not too worried. It's sometimes nice, isn't it, to not have that full control over something. You just never know what's going to happen. And that's a lovely feeling sometimes. Within uncertainty lies the realm of all possibilities. That's one of my favourite quotes from Deepak Chopra. And I love uncertainty because you never know. If you're a curious person like me, you never know what might eventuate from what you're doing. Okay, I think we're ready to pour. This is exciting. This is the best part. Put the lid on this one. Okay. Here I'm repurposing a turntable that I made that I wasn't really happy with. So I'm going to reuse it, and I'm putting some electrical tape around it so that I don't get any drips or drops on the back. Here we go. Let's see what we can turn this into and see if the colours merge or do they retain their brilliance. I love this part, pouring. Oh gosh, they look gorgeous. Got to make sure this works its way. I can't normally, with a top coat, I would put my hands in it and spread it, but we can't do that here, can we? You're going to have to just try and do it like a pour paint technique where you just move it. I'll tell you what, they're beautiful. This may work. This may work. It really might. Want it to go over the edge at the moment. I just want to cover it. I'm so excited by this. I might be able to make all types of things with this. It's sort of like I have experimented with the pouring paint techniques, and you know, I prefer resins, so this is going to allow me to use those same techniques, but with resin. I'm going to just give it a bit of a blow to get rid of some bubbles and hopefully spread it a bit more. I made up 142 grams of the 1-to-1 resin. I should have maybe made a little bit more. If I was doing a board this size again, I think I'd put a little bit more. I was a bit worried about having it all pouring off the piece, but given the viscosity of this, it appears to be working quite well. You know, I've got it's starting to drip on this side. I did put my leveler on it at the start, and it didn't look too bad at all, but it is starting to pour on this side. So I need to get some more happening. Maybe if I just turn it, that might help. I need to get more over there. I don't really want to touch it too much because I don't want to ruin this gorgeous thing that's happening here. I did put electrical tape, as you saw at the start, around the back, so that hopefully I don't get any paint, or not paint, the colorants on the back, the resin on the back. Oh, that side's covered. Now we need this side. I don't want to make a mess at the back because otherwise it's going to go all over my piece. Just hold on a minute. I'm going to have to try something. Put another mat down and see how we go. I've got to try and get it onto the edges. I wish I'd poured a little bit more now, because if it doesn't get to the edges, it's not going to be very good, is it? But see, I'm going to wreck my pattern. Oh. Oh dear. Okay. What can I do? I have got a little bit more in here. I could try pouring some of that. Because it's not moving very much anymore. I put some there on the edges and then try and move it. Maybe it might move then, because it's got something there. That's what I'm hoping anyway. I'd love to know if you've tried something like this. It's always interesting to hear if other people have, you know, had experiences with something like this and what they've done and the problems that you've encountered and things like that. So do comment. It's lovely to hear from you. Okay, looking a bit better now. I'm nearly there. And in a way, it's good that it hasn't sort of poured too much over the sides because, as I said, I don't want it to get onto the back. Now the electrical tape's there, it's not going to, it can still drip more. Nearly there. This is working. I think having something else for it to sort of self-level against, it seems to be working. It's so exciting. This is so exciting. You have no idea how excited I am. When you try something and you can see the possibilities, it's really good. I mean, I've made a couple of boards with the pouring paint and they've turned out really vibrant, but then you've got to turn around and resin them on the top. Whereas this is done with the resin itself. And, you know, like, I don't know whether you could do it if you were doing a deeper pour, because of course you're going to use the slow low viscosity one for deep pours, so it may not, you can't really use it for that. You can only use it to top something up. But that is just working so well. Okay, that's great. I'm now going to just give it another, I might actually get the torch out. I've got a new cupboard here too. Let's put it into my studio, so I've got a lot more space, because as you know, things keep growing. Oh wow, that's gorgeous. That's beautiful, look. I'm just going to give it another blow with this. A lot of bubbles in the higher viscosity 1-to-1 mix, but it worked out pretty good with the blender today. You can see where I've added it in, but no one would know unless you'd seen me doing it. What do you think? Wow. Okay, we'll leave it and see what happens when it's cured. Will it change or will it stay like that? Who knows? I think that's turned out rather good. I'm going to now take the tape off it and come back with the finished result. Hello, I'm back. And let's have a look at this. What do you think? It's dry. I've got my colour chart here. You can see some of the colours in there. The red took over a little bit, but I love the cells in it. And the blue, and there's a little bit of yellow. Would have been nice to have a bit more yellow, but it obviously blended in with the red and orange. But I'm really happy with that. I think that's really, really pretty. And I hope you enjoyed this little experiment to see how a 1-to-1 ratio epoxy resin works with the colours.